Osun people on account of overvoting. What does the Electoral Act say about this? So there's been conflicting statements and judgments about, conflicting opinions. Some people say, look, the Electoral Act says if there's a case of overvoting, then it should be cancelled. The election should be cancelled in those areas. But then what we see is a situation where the governor is sacked and another person or the court is saying, look, make this other man the candidates of the All Progressives Congress declaring the All Progressives Congress winner in that election. And well, that's not sitting well as we see it with most Osun people who have come out to protest that, saying, look, we do not want we do not want a change or the stealing of our mandates. We have duly elected the governor and we don't want somebody else to replace him. Well, all of that we'll be talking about this morning. We'll also talk about the Naira swap. The CBN has extended the deadline for the Naira swap from the 31st of January to the 10th of February. Sounds like good news to a lot of Nigerians. Some of the Nigerians are saying, look, we shouldn't have in any way, shifted the deadline. We should have just left it that way. And joining us in discussing the Osun Electoral Tribunal, the Osun Election Tribunal judgment that sacked the governor of Osun State, Adeleke, is Barrister Abubakar El Zubair. He is a lawyer of repute, and he's joining us in this conversation. You two can be a big part of our conversation this morning by joining in when we open up the phone lines. Barrister El Zubair, good morning again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How's everything?
Well, we're grateful. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation this morning. So, how did the judgment by the Osun Election Tribunal come to you when you saw that judgment? What was your first reaction?
Initially, because all we were thinking at that time was probably the former governor of Osun State went to the tribunal based on the certificate forgery allegations of the elected governor, Adeleke. Consequently, when the tribunal delivered its verdict, it now came to light to many Nigerians that, the issue is not even the certificate forgery alone. All along, the tribunal was asked to test the veracity of the viewers, which was the ground upon which the 2023 election will be generally tested. And on the basis of that, the tribunal was able to overturn that election on issues of overvoting. Another surprising thing when I had the verdict was the number of polling units where those overvoting were alleged to have taken place. And I say, so even with the viewers, we can have this kind of tumultuous number of areas where overvoting will be done. So I was first surprised. Then I became apprehensive. Then doubts came to my mind whether INEC can be able to control the politicians in 2023. But generally, I feel that if the verdict is legal, and I think it is legal, probably it will be tested at the Court of Appeal. It is only then that we may be able to take a final position on it. I think that the person who is elected generally by the people should be the one to govern them. I was surprised, I was apprehensive, I was shocked, but there's nothing that we can do since the verdict has been delivered.
Well, with that verdict from the tribunal in Osun State, there was this seeming concern by many Nigerians as to the integrity of beavers and the 2023 election, like you mentioned. In this situation, people are saying, look, so all it would take for a certain politician to win an election would be to find ways to get people to manipulate the numbers and claim overvoting at the court, and then the court overturns the decision of the voters. In this case, what are we seeing? We've seen in Imo State in 2019, the court decided who the governor of that state would be. again, another situation is coming up in Osun State where it would be the courts to decide who would govern over Osun State. When it comes to the presidential level, don't you think that this would cause some level of big disaffection with the electorate, especially as regards INEC and the courts? I mean, I'm seeing a three-way, discontent by Nigerians.
Yes. What is clear is that the federal government, through the Independent National Electoral Commission, has done a lot to improve the electoral processes. The INEC has done its best also to bring in innovations wherein some of these issues of malpractices can be minimized. This is good omen for Nigeria. But the beavers, which is an electronic process, is not final, because after voting, and this is why the politicians will now manipulate the process, as they have manipulated in Osun State. When every voter is captured through the electronic process, and every voter casts his vote through the electronic process, the process is clear, and every voter will be recorded, and every vote will count. But the issue is that in entering the number of votes which is captured in the beavers, you will now fill it manually in a form provided by the Independent National Electoral Commission, which is called Form EA81. This Form EA81 is not electronic. So what happens is that since the politicians think that what is clear on the beavers can now be entered manually, I think that is where they try to manipulate the process by adding numbers to what is obtained in the beavers. It will only take litigation to unravel the mismanagement of the votes of the voters when there is a comparison at the tribunal between what was obtained in the beavers and what was recorded in the EA8 form. And that is what happened in Osun. If that comparison was not made, probably Adeleke will still be the governor, and it will have been difficult to even take him out, because the tribunal will only pay attention to the beavers. And INEC even provided a reconciliatory from EA8 which tallied with the beavers. But because the petitioner was able to obtain those from E8A from INEC before even going to the tribunal, they were able to point out the discrepancies between the number of votes in the beavers and the number of votes recorded on the EA8 form. So I think what is important is, let those who are going to work for INEC do the needful, because they need to save Nigeria from what it is going through now. Let's try to do the work diligently, honestly, and patriotically. It is only when the workers are able to do that that we may be able to get it right. Although even if they do what was done in Osun State, and it goes to the tribunal, it will still be unraveled, because the beavers is partly accurate. It is only the form EA8A, which is manual, that is faulty. Once they are honest, we can get it right.
Now, the confusion is that INEC has told us that the beavers does not really take up number. What it takes up is a snapshot of the form EA8, which is the result sheet as we have it, right? So what is entered into that result sheet is taken as a photograph and uploaded onto the beavers. Now, if that's the situation, why do we have? Is it that the party agents at those polling units were not doing what the job responsibly? Because I don't understand how a certain number would be entered into the form and a different number would be entered into the beavers. It's quite conflicting. Now, I know that maybe we'd have to bring in INEC to explain this to us, but with the way that things are, do you see a situation where this kind of discourages Nigerians from going out to vote? Because if I've heard many Nigerians saying, look, if we can go out to vote on an election day, and after voting, the court will be the ones to decide who's going to lead us, then there's really no point going out to vote. Wouldn't this, further dampen the spirits of Nigerians and create further, voter apathy amongst Nigerians?
You are right. And I think most Nigerians about this view are right. The issue is that we overhyped the Electoral Act 2022, which was signed by the President, especially with regards to the electronic processes in election. We didn't pay attention to the human angle, which is the patriotism of those who are working and their honesty towards the processes, and the fact that the politicians can be able to compromise them. Nigerian politicians are probably from a different planet, because they will do everything necessary to compromise every process that is meant to ensure credible and fair election. If they take out the part of compromise, they will even compromise party agents who are supposed to stand in for their political parties and who are not supposed to waver or even take bribes from political adversaries. But in Nigeria, the politicians believe that everybody has a price, and no matter how difficult you are, they can be able to buy you. I think honesty, patriotism, and the love of country is very, very key. Every person should try to do the work diligently, but the courts are not there to shortchange the wishes, aspirations, and the votes that Nigerians have cast. No, the court is only there to correct the anomalies that were recorded at the time that people were casting their vote. What happened in Osun, if you look at it clearly, if not that the tribunal was able to detect the discrepancies between what was recorded in the Vivas and the wrongful figures that were recorded in from EA8, probably Adeleke will still be the governor of Osun State. But the danger is that in a democracy, every process is to ensure that a person elected is the one that will govern the people, not somebody who has shortchanged them by whatever means to govern them out of corrupt processes that he has emerged. So I think the courts are not forcing candidates or elected officials on Nigerians. They are rather taking the excesses of those corrupt officials who are working for INEC, who will shortchange the votes cast by Nigerians in favor of a person who has probably compromised the process. So I think Nigerians should not be too apprehensive about what is happening. All we need to do is to appeal to those who are working to do it honestly, especially the party agents who are representing their political parties. The politicians do not care about the country. All that matters to them is the power they want to grab. So they will use every possible process, no matter how illegal it is, for them to get to that power. It is not their qualms that the process is compromised. But I think in choosing party agents, the political parties should be wary of those characters that they do not so much know, so that we may be able to go near to what is good and perfect for us.
Now let's talk about what you lawyers refer to as stare decisis, a situation where or what we call precedents. Now, do you think that this Osun declaration or the court ruling in Osun State would set a precedence for such cases as the Beavers case when it comes to election petitions and all that? Would this set a precedence, or would it be one that would just be struck out at the Supreme Court or at the Court of Appeal and overturned? What do you see playing out? Do you think that the Court of Appeal may be able to overturn this, or would it just be set as precedence?
Based on what we have read on the contents of the judgment and the position that INEC has taken before the judgment and even after the judgment, and the consent of some of the parties with regards to the discrepancies on the Vivas and on the Form EA8 form, it shows that our reliance on beavers alone cannot solve our problem. It also shows that politicians must now be wary of every declaration and it must be checked. It also shows that those who are in love with their candidates and those who want their candidates to win the election must closely watch the election officials and who is trying to compromise them. Of course, the Osun Electoral Tribunal has shown the weaknesses of the weavers. It has also shown the human weaknesses of party agents and INEC officials. It has also shown that every politician must watch closely and that after election, comparison must be made in respect of the weavers and the Form EA head. This is because this is the only way to go to ensure credible election. This is the only way that Nigerians can ensure that the person they have voted for has actually won the election. And about the Court of Appeal, I believe that with what has transpired at the tribunal, it is most likely that the Court of Appeal may reaffirm the verdict of the tribunal. Although I am not aware of all the facts, but what appears to be apparent is that that discrepancy is very, very big, is multifarious, and it cuts across many polling units across the state. And there was consent. I do not think that the Court of Appeal may overturn that decision, but that is my personal opinion.
Okay, let's talk about what you mentioned. Some of the things you mentioned earlier, talking about money and how money plays a big role in our election. The president has said one of the reasons for the currency swap or the new redesign of the naira is for us to be able to check election manipulation when it comes to vote buying and also inducement of returning officers and all that. In this situation where in Osun State there was also okay, seems like we lost connection with my guest. We're going to have to reconnect with him. With what's playing out, can we really trust that in the 2023 elections money would not play the big role that it has always played? Because if certain people looked away or manipulated the process in Osun State, Barrister Elzebari, thank you again for reconnecting with us.
Thank you very much.
Now we're talking about the money politics and how the president has said the naira redesign was supposed to help us check, vote buying and inducement of returning officers and officials of the Electoral Commission. In a situation where it happens that, from what it's looking like, from what we see, it seems like some certain people were induced to either look away, or also inflate the numbers on both sides. What do you think this naira redesign would achieve when it comes to elections? Is it going to be able to achieve that goal that the president had set out? And even with the extension that we see in the next 10 days, do you think that this policy will be able to achieve that goal?
No, it will not. This is because the politicians are not affected by the naira design. You can see that even while Nigerians were queuing at the bank, the politicians in their various campaigns were always going on normally, and they were distributing money, and some of them were distributing the new currencies, even when the banks claim that they do not have it. The politicians have no qualms getting that money. The reason is because the bank officials sometimes even connive with the nobles rich, that is those people that are very, very rich and wealthy in our society. In fact, they do not go to the bank. They just call the bank manager at home. Write a figure to him. I want you to bring 50 million naira to my house tomorrow morning. And they will do it neatly. And the politicians will go about their duties. So in compromising the electoral officials, they will not have much ado in doing that, because the money will not be scarce for them. The money is scarce only to the ordinary people. What we need to do is to check those who are working closely, especially those party agents and those electoral officials who are critically at the center of filling these forms. What the political parties should also do is to go around, probably with an arrangement with the security agencies, so that they can be going around the wards and the electoral units to check whether their agents are doing the right thing and whether the agents are alert to what is happening at the polling unit and whether they are doing the right thing at the time. But our appeal to INEC generally, although they have taken most of those who are going to work for them, let them also monitor them so that INEC will come out clean out of what is happening. I believe that these officials who did it in Osun didn't do it with the consent of INEC. And I believe that they only should change INEC based on their own aggrandizement. I believe that it is their greed and love of money that lead them to do that, and their lack of patriotic will for the country. Once INEC is able to monitor them on the day of election and then insist that they must do the right thing, I believe that the right thing can be done. But in terms of the currency change, it will not affect the politicians, because every Nigerian has had, especially at the presidential level, where newspapers even reported that some presidential candidates, despite the money redesign, are spending over $1 billion in some states in order to get people to come and listen to their campaign promises. So I think that will not affect them much. Even if it will affect people, it will be those politicians who do not have much money as those big ones among them.
Well, as we approach the the 2023 election, it's about 30 days away or less. About 32 days away. What do you see playing out with the fact that we have these four political heavyweights in the ring or in the race for the 2023 presidency? And people have spoken about, again, the body language of the president, saying that this might not, he might not be in full support of his party's candidate. What do you make of that? The president's body language has been an issue even from day one when he got into power. Again, we're seeing it towards the election, and people are still talking about his body language and saying he may not be in support of his party's candidate. What do you see playing out in this race?
At the political party primaries, the president did not support Asuwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's what most of APC stalwarts have said. They said he had his own candidate and never wanted the Asuwaji to emerge as a candidate of the APC. The Asuwaji had to take a very stern stance in Ogun State when he went for campaign by ensuring that he take a clear stand, and it didn't matter to him whatever will happen when the election is cast at the primaries. What he wanted principally was to win the election, and by the grace of God he has emerged. But it appears that the tendency in the APC is still playing on, because there are many places where the president has gone and was unable to make any speech. In some places, he did not even appear. In some places, it appeared that the president was recalcitrant and did not even want to be associated with what is happening at the presidential campaign level. But that is by the way, because the campaigns are going on, and I think that they are going on smoothly. The president of Nigeria has already been decided by God. The human being is only playing what he thinks he should play. The four candidates are doing their best. They have their strengths and weaknesses. Each one of them is capable of leading the country, although they have the same pedigree in terms of their incapabilities. If it were our wishes, it would have been a different set of people entirely, and not these people that are emerged. But we do not have any choice. It is from these people that will vote. Their strengths and weaknesses are almost the same, because each one of them has one case or the other to answer. And unfortunately, they are almost the same in terms of their corruption profiling, in terms of their lackadaisical attitude towards the governance in the country, in their own governance at the time they occupied certain positions and what they did, whether they enrich themselves from public coffers, they all have similarities in their own profile and in their capability to rule the country. I want to tell you that we will not witness any much change or difference in terms of what is happening now, because their pedigree is almost the same. The only regrettable aspect is that we do not have choice outside these four candidates. Any one of them that will emerge will be the one that will rule the country. It is like between the devil and the deep blue sea, and Nigerians have no choice either than to fall into the sea or to vote for the devil. That is all I can say about this.
Before I let you go, do you think that the APC may be, breaking out into splinters of the, all of the parties that came together to form the APC in that merger in 2013? Because people are already talking about the CPC bloc and the ACN bloc, rivalry in the party. Do you see that playing out before the election in the next 30 days? Will the APC disintegrate amongst or implode within itself before the election?
Yes, these issues will play out, but these issues will play out not for patriotic reasons. They will play out because those in those blocks will want to get jobs when the party wins election, or will want to get contract when the party wins election, or because they want to get some money so as to participate in the campaign. What I'm trying to say is that each of these blocks in all the political parties or major political parties will come up and fight safety and even reassert their position, not because of the country, not because of our progress, but because of their personal sentiments and what they intend to get out of those conflicts. The blocks are there. They have been there all the time. It is contraption that has brought these parties together, especially the APC. Even the PDP, there are some contraptions inside. But these contraptions and contradictions will come out just for the personal interest that will be served, not for the interest of the country. So you can see that 20 days to go, there are already these tendencies, and they will play out up to the time of election. But these tendencies are for personal reasons and interests, not for interest of the country, not for the progress of the people, not for the overwhelming interest of the majority of Nigerians.
Very well said. Barrister Abubakar El-Zubair, legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. I would hope to keep you a little longer, but I know you have a very busy day ahead of you, so I'd have to let you go now. Thank you so much for talking with us this morning on the program. We really appreciate your time and thoughts on the program.
It is a great privilege for me. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're still listening to Eagles Outlook on your radio experience. You can count on. This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, and we're glad to have you stay with us. The conversation continues in a moment.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
You get what you want buy but you don't get money? Microwave, TV, I mean you want paying about bill. Download Yangabeat from any online store. With 100 naira, fund your wallet. Choose a plan for your gate pass. Start spinning and winning. The player with the highest number wins the beat. Anything when you want buy, you can beat it and win it. Yangabeat, Nigeria's online marketplace.
You can call us on 091 3000 2014 091 3000 2014.
Fellow Nigerians, in response to the yearnings of citizens, particularly those in the rural and underserved areas of the country, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has extended the deadline for swapping and depositing the old 1000 naira, 500 naira and 200 naira banknotes from January 31, 2023 to February 10, 2023. You now have until that time to swap your old notes for new ones, as the affected old banknotes will cease to be legal tender. The CBN has also given a 7-day grace period from February 10 to February 17, 2023 to deposit old notes at the CBN after the new deadline of February 10, 2023. Beat the rush with this second chance, as any old banknote outside the CBN at that time ceases to be legal tender. The Naira is our national identity. Accept it, spend it, and keep it clean. Let's embrace the new banknotes. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja. Abuja.
From Milky Way to Earth, everywhere there's internet, you can connect with Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Log on to our website www.eaglesfm.com. Follow and engage with us now on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok at Eagles FM Abuja, Instagram at Eagles FM 1023. Download our apps on your Android and iOS stores. Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can count on.
Are you ready for this?
Keep that frequency clear.
We're live. I woke up with a Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja.
Good morning again. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Eagles Outlook on your radio experience you can count on. So, the first phase of the program, we were talking about the Osun Election Tribunal judgment that sacked the governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, and saying, well, the certificate of return issued to him should be withdrawn and issued to Adegboyega Oyetola, the former governor of the state, who ran for that same office, that's the office of the governor of Osun State, on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. That stirred up some level of controversy and conversations in the polity. But, well, my guest was able to lay out some of the fundamentals to the conversation. It's good that you can also join us in the conversation. 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. SMS and WhatsApp messages are welcome on 090-9705-4450. Now let's take the conversation to another level. Let's talk about the fact that, first of all, INEC has extended the deadline for the collection of permanent voter cards to the 5th of February. So if you're yet to get your card, you know that, look, I'm on a mission to get you to get your card. In fact, Eagles FM is on a mission to ensure that you get your PVCs. Now, the extension has been a little quiet. I don't know why, but it gives you time to go and get those cards. Don't relax because 5 days was added, or because a few more days were added to the deadline. Please do not relent. If you've been trying to get your card, this is the time to put more pressure. You know how we say, put more pressure, add pressure. Go back there, do what you can to ensure that you get your cards. Now, the card collection, the PVC collection, is at the area council level or local government level. You have to go to your local government area to get your cards. Very, very important. Now, away from that one, the CBN has also extended the deadline for the swapping of the old currency or the old currency notes, 1,000 naira, 500 naira, as well as 200 naira. Now, what's going to happen? The deadline has been moved to the 10th of February. As of the 10th of February, when that day comes, the old notes would cease to be legal tender. Okay? Now you have time to go and deposit your money. All you have to do is go deposit your money. That's the first thing. Nobody should fool you. Don't be deceived. You don't have to deposit your money and withdraw at the same time. No, it doesn't make sense. Deposit the money in your bank account. I say this. This is just for those of you who have concerns. If you need money, withdraw what you want to spend immediately. So if you want, for instance, you want to buy something that's worth 20,000 naira, and they won't accept transfers, or they won't you can't use your card to pay, then withdraw the 20,000 naira and pay, or withdraw 25,000 naira so you have at least 5,000 naira to go around. You don't have to carry all this cash around. There are e-channels that can help us, do transactions. Truth be told, yes, we acknowledge this, it's not perfect yet, but there's never going to be a perfect day where we would have a perfect e-transaction system. Okay, if we're saying we're doing a cashless society, we're going to get into a cashless society, and people are saying, "Oh, it's not time yet. We're not ready. We would never be ready." Look, even in the advanced climes, they experience technical glitches. They experience network glitches. Don't deceive yourself. Even in the US and UK, people sometimes experience these difficulties. It's not perfect anywhere. It's just good that we start from somewhere. I was telling some people over the weekend, if you understand, we also help other people understand this. So I met a group of people where I went to align my tires and my wheels, and these guys will say, "Oh, this thing, it's not going to work. Why are we doing this? Why are we making life difficult? Why is the central bank and the federal government making life difficult for people?" And I was able to sit them down and help them understand these things. Okay, we cannot have a situation where all the monies, transactions are done outside of the banking system, or we cannot have a good look at what has happened in the last few weeks. Inflation has dropped for the first time in several months because of this policy. So you cannot be saying you want to have a better nation, or you want to have a better economy, and all of the monies, trade and everything is going on outside of the official economic system. You have these monies in the bushes, you have these monies in people's homes. It's called black money. We don't need that now. We need to be able to checkmate what's going on. So if, for instance, over time, the so quote unquote politicians or corrupt politicians have been able to amass wealth for themselves by having these monies locked up in the warehouses and in the homes, how do we get the monies back in the system? This is one of the only ways. You can't go to their homes and break their banks or break their doors and say, "Bring out the monies." No, you don't even know where it is. So the only way that we can get monies back into the system now, the federal government, the CBN statement yesterday said they've been able to rake in 1.9 trillion within the last few weeks. So 1 trillion is left for collection. If they're able to, recollect this 1 trillion naira, we're going to have more money in the economic system, and this money should be able to go around. Now, if we're going to have a cashless society, it means that we'll be able to track these monies more. It will be easier to track these monies, and which is why a lot of your politicians are not happy. Okay, I've been talking about myself for too long. Join in the conversation now, but I'm trying to help us understand this. Let's not just, it's not every policy that we criticize. Take your time to understand it. Okay, some of these things are good for us. We can't have a situation where criminals are abducting people and taking them in, and they have to pay millions of naira. Take millions of naira from the economy, from the from circulation, and send it to the bushes, and people are keeping those monies in the forests. It doesn't make sense. Okay, let's do what we can to understand these things, and not just fight every policy because we don't understand them. Take your time. If you don't understand, ask someone to help you understand what it is. All right. Now there's a good deadline extension. Congratulations to us. At least those of you who can pass for it. Just within this period, go deposit your money and relax. Your money is not going to get missing. If you don't have a bank account, I don't know for the life of me why you don't have a bank account in 2023. I don't think there's anybody who should be. Someone said this morning, there's anybody who's listening to me and can understand what I'm saying should have a bank account. But trust me, some people don't. Even if they know the reasons why they should have a bank account, some people just not have bank accounts. So please get your bank account. And if you know your relatives who are having a hard time because they don't have a bank account, or they're not literate enough to help them, these things don't take too long. They're not so difficult to do. It's very easy to open a bank account. Encourage them to open bank accounts. Put these monies in. Okay? Those of you, the question is, how many of you even have up to 5 million or 10 million naira lying around somewhere in cash? So when politicians who claim to care about you complain, they're not complaining for you. They're not fighting for you. When difficult situations, since you've been queuing for fuel, how many times have they invited the NNPC or the Minister of Petroleum or anybody to come and explain or threaten to arrest them? No, there was bad fuel that was brought into this country. Nigerians, some of you had your cars damaged. The National Assembly didn't really do much for you. They didn't fight for you in that regard. Palliatives were hoarded. Your leaders, so-called leaders, did not fight for you. How come they are fighting for you now that it's Naira exchange? I mean, some of us only have hundreds of thousands. That's, in our entire lives, So when they fight some of these policies, they're not fighting for you. They're fighting for themselves. And the earlier you realize that, the better for you. Okay. Join the conversation 09073530044 and 09087668888. That is 09073530044 and 09087668888. I would bring in this caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What happened? Try to call back. Seems like there was a drop call there. 09073530044 and 09087668888. Hello, good morning. Hello. Okay, so we have that challenge now. Let's start it again. Right, you can call 09097054450 if the phone lines would not allow us to talk to you for some reason. 09097054450. I can trust this one. You can pick. I can definitely pick this one. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, Prince Enacho.
Good morning, Haruna. Good to have you join us.
Yeah, right, thank you. Am I clear on air?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, Prince, my Prince.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm not looking at it from that angle, because what I am seeing while the House of Assembly are fighting for the masses in respect of this exchange of naira, is because every individual needed this money, including them, even the fuel issue too. I know you are making comparison, okay, but from my own perspective, you don't make a law or decision like that and make it so fast under 90 days. You understand? This is a country that the banking system, the infrastructure of the banking system is not up to date in other countries. Today, you want to do transfer is an issue. You want to make a withdrawal even from the counter is an issue. So I think I'm expecting the CBN to work on the commercial banks, upgrade their system before we can bring policies like this. He really meant well for us, but the rush is where is getting it wrong. Okay. You understand? So that is how I see it. All right. Thank you very much, my prince.
Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Haruna's position, quite understandable. Yes, we need to strengthen the e-channels and the banks need to do more to do all that. But like I said before, there's never going to be a perfect day. There's never going to be a day where we say, this is the day. That's a good day to implement this. We have to start somewhere. And if we started somewhere at this point, this is where we're starting, then it's a good place. There's never going to be a great day or a good day or the best day to do anything. It has to start small. Even with your family, you have to start to implement some things on a certain day. It's good that you can only get better. If we start implementation now, it would only get better in the next few years. So isn't it just better to just start somewhere? Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Prince.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Michael from Abuja.
Michael, good to have you join
us. Yes, I think the CBN governor meant well. We know that, but the time frame is too small. You cannot just expect us to all our monies. They should be the one to provide means of how to withdraw these monies from the economy and then inject the new ones. Now these new currencies are not in the bank; they're not in the ATM. So how do you expect us now? Okay, we are rejecting money. This one says that I'm not collecting new money. The other person says that I'm not collecting your own money. You understand? And the next thing, it will cause chaos in the country. So they should give enough time. They should give enough time, because you said something about the money in the bushes. Even if they change this new currency, the money will still go to the bushes. So far, the insecurity still persists. The same new money will still go to the bushes. Now, what is the tracking device they implemented in these new currencies? Are there any tracking devices that can track our currencies? If you look at the pounds, if you look at the dollar, they have tracking devices on them that they can track their money anywhere, that especially kidnappers and insurgencies and the rest. So now, he meant well. We thank you for it, but he shouldn't rush Nigerians.
Okay.
He shouldn't rush Nigerians.
All right.
He should take their time, do their bit, put these monies in the banks, in the ATMs, and let people do their daily activities. With time, the money will fade out, the old notes will fade out, and the new ones will come in. We've gone through this before during, I think, Soludo time. So it's not a new thing. It's not a new thing.
All right. Thank you very much.
Are you getting my
Yes,
point? So
but then here's the thing. Here's the thing, Michael.
rush.
Michael, if we have the new currency everywhere as you want it to, circulate the way that the old currency did, then it would be easy for people to actually still demand ransoms, because now we've seen, okay, the terrorists are also actually demanding, don't give us old notes, bring the new notes, but the people cannot access the new notes, which makes it difficult for them to continue to keep holding people and asking for ransoms. Don't you think that solves a bit of the problem that we've seen in the last few weeks? We haven't been hearing of kidnaps here, kidnap there, because the people cannot provide you the new naira notes. So
yes, because it's not available at the moment.
Now we need to look at the fact that what the CBN is doing is to see that we quickly move into a cashless society.
They should strengthen the banking, the e-banking.
Absolutely correct.
They need to strengthen the e-banking sector.
Absolutely agree.
To make sure that our transactions can easily flow. Not for us to be running around circles.
I agree with you.
Cannot be running around circles. We're in the 21st century. We're in 2023. We should do things like people that are educated. Please.
Very well. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate you calling in. I'm so sorry if you've been calling the other line. I really can't take that. I can't take calls on that line now. It's been quite difficult. But anyway, I'll wrap up now and I'll close with a message from Innocent. Innocent says, "Good morning, Ihanacho. We have to protest the CBN 10-day extension of money swap. It rather ought to have sanctioned banks and their executive who were in bed with politicians trying to sabotage the policy by delaying implementation and using DSS to pursue the governor. The implementation of this extension is that bullion van, bullion room, and pit stashed cash terrorists will continue to seek ways to derail the success. It also means 10 days for forest terrorists and kidnappers to make another attempt at their evil trade. We should not be bothered by loud cries and threats from the House of Reps and other Stone Age politicians who rejected modernity and civilization and yet attempting to lead 21st century Nigerians. We should also not bother about the temporary difficulties caused by the refusal of banks to release the new Naira notes. We should have our eyes on the goal of sanitizing this country and taking it away from hawks and bats of society. They can offload their illicit cash extorted from the poor on the streets and looted from government vaults into the nearest lagoon. This is the only thing to remember both Emefiele and Buhari in these 8 years of one chance dance. Thank God Peter Obi is coming." Innocent says so. Thank you very much, Innocent. I can't say it anymore. I think that you've probably put it well enough for us to understand. And this is where we'd have to drop the anchors on the program this morning. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of the conversation. Whatever you think, is good. But you know how they say a change of perception comes with more knowledge. Maybe we need to get more knowledge, and that can shift our perception of things. And I hope that we do that. Thank you very much for joining the conversation this morning. Let's do this again tomorrow at the top of the hour 9. My name is Ihanacho Prince. Business News is up next. Right after that, it would be the Midday Extra right here on Eagles 102.3.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
This is Eagles 102.3 News, your number one radio experience you can count on.